Welcome, Panther Nation football fans, to another edition of Growlin and Prowlin. I am, of course, Mr. CeeLo, talking all things Carolina Panthers from the regular season, postseason, and Super Bowl. From the off-season to the draft to OTAs to the preseason. Let the growling begin. Welcome back, you guys. I guess you guys are a lot like me. Hope you guys have recovered from the, I guess, semi-disappointing day we had yesterday. I was somewhat satisfied, but not on the level that we don't have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of work to do, guys. Just hearing a lot of guys in the Panther chat rooms talk about, oh, we're going to be the worst case and this, that, and the other. Think that there's a lot of people that referred to yesterday as a horrific day. And just quoting Anthony Rossetti of Panthers Wire. But let's go through the grades, if you will. According to PFF, notables, Adam Thielen had a 72.6. Deontay Brown had a 69.1. And the worst of the offense, Cameron Ervin, 47. Hayden Hurst, 43.9. Ike Ekwonu, 43.4. And Michael Jordan. You know, Irving and Coleman gave up 4 pressures apiece. I know I'm going right into it, guys, but this is something I want to be able to push past. I don't know on that. Hopefully, Frank Wright and Thomas Brown have this thing situated. I haven't gotten to Coach Avero yet. But, looking at this, Michael Jordan has been a disappointment, since he's been here. I hate to say it. I don't usually generally like to give individual put-downs, but he's really been bad. And what's a surprise is Ekwonu. All through the broadcast, there were talks about this guy making this leap. And what I really enjoyed about watching some of the things that I saw yesterday was there were some good run plays. And I thought the guards did a much less... I thought the guards did a worse job than the tackles did. I don't think... I'll venture to say that I'll have to go through and be more specific on it, because I thought the guards played badly as well. A lot of pressure came up the middle, and a lot of holes were not necessarily generated in the run game. But, for the most part, it was a situation where I just kind of looked at it and said, we couldn't move the football. You have to be able to move the football. That is my number one thing when it comes to what we're able to do. You can't win a championship if you don't score points. You have to be able to put something out there. And, we've heard so many individuals talking about, oh, well, it's first preseason game, relax. And then you have all people that are putting it up as, oh, this is bad. This is really bad. So I'm kind of in the middle of all of that. We still have Austin Corbett coming back. But, even Frank Wright coming back saying our play calling was very generic. You still have to be able to push people off the ball and pass protect. I'm just of the essence that you cannot be, nostalgic about it. You have to take some shots. And the thing I look at it is you can't be a sharpshooter if you're not taking shots practice-wise. You're not just going to come out there in the heat of the moment and say, oh, I'm going to hit a shot from a half a mile away, and I've not practiced it or had a chance to work on it, with adversity. But overall, there was some good runs. Matt Corral did a pretty decent, efficient job. He's not on the list of guys that play as the best, but I thought he had an efficient day. He was not great by any stretch of the imagination. But then again, the offense as a whole was not great, but I thought he was pretty efficient in the moments that he played, and it's a cause for encouragement. He does have the right attitude according to what you know we heard. This is a guy that feels like he's auditioning for another job if he's not auditioning for another position. That's the way he looks at it. He looks at it as a guy that he can make the difference. He can make the difference, and if he's going to be a starter somewhere, he's going to have to show better, what I like to call better, I guess you could say, ability to read what's going on in front of him. Because I saw a lot of plays yesterday. I just was not happy, and I'm not the coach, but I'm a fan, of what we saw yesterday. We saw a lot of indecisiveness, even from Bryce Young. But we've seen there was an article that came out today that the Carolina Panthers offensive line took the blame for the struggles of Bryce Young. Well, they should take the struggles for both quarterbacks, not just Bryce Young. Don't just try to protect him. This needs to be a situation where you guys need to you guys need to stand up and take the brunt of the deal here. But as I said, Matt Corral was 15 of 22, for 126 yards and threw a pick. And as I said, it was just the fact that the Jets dominated the time of possession at 35-50 to 24-10. There were several 3-and-outs. I would venture to say that we had at least 6. No, I think we had 7, because I remember they said, Heckler, this dude here is a weapon. I'm a firm believer that this is why we should have kept Deontay Foreman, because of this very simple reason here. Foreman is a guy that can smash you and just pound away at you. You guys remember in one of the shows previously, I mentioned that. This is what you need, is a guy that's going to smash and so on and so forth. Not that Chuba Hubbard had a bad game, but Deontay Foreman was that sledgehammer. And you're going to need that. You're going to need to run the football consistently. The Jets were able to run play action crazy, and I'll get to the defense in a second, but they were able to run play action, and 2 of their touchdowns came off of it. They weren't long touchdowns, but in a sense, they were able to use that misdirection. And Zach Wilson, of all people, he didn't have a bad game. He had a pretty much better game than Matt Corral did. He went 14 of 20, 123 yards, and a score. This is a guy that they were talking about. Is he going to be that guy? What a difference Aaron Rodgers makes. I'm not going to give him that. But let's switch gears here. Thomas Brown, Frank Wright, you guys have some work to do. And it's not just to tell us that it was basic offense. Let's go to the defensive side. We have to go and throw out what PFF looked at for the defense. Now, the top defenders, one of them not on here, let's go down. Number 1, Dante Jackson got an 84. C.J. Henderson, 82, who's played well. He's been playing well since training camp, so keep an eye out for that. Frankie Louvu, of course. Chandler Wooten played very well. Greg Maben played pretty well. But the one guy I did not see on here was one Amari Barno. I was not happy about not seeing this guy on here. And this has got to have to stop. We got to give, Barno's going to have to get his props. Now I will say this, he was quiet in the second half, and after, the starters came, after he had his first initial burst. He had the pressure that we were talking about. That was the biggest concern we had with going to get Justin Houston. Barno led the defense with a pair of pressures over 11 pass rushing opportunities. Coach Avero, this is your guy. If you need Brian Burns to sit his butt down, this is your guy. He had 11 opportunities to rush the passer. He got the pressure, and he got a tackle for a loss. And he didn't have a sack. Rizzuti, you missed that. You said a pair of pressures. Yes, he did get a sack. He had a sack and a pressure and a tackle for a loss yesterday. So I think Coach Evero needs to realize you've got your guy, Amari Barno. What needs to happen is he needs to get more opportunities. This is a guy you're gonna have to get him on the ball if you're the Carolina Panthers. You gotta figure out, watch the film. He had the lone sack in that game. This has got to be the guy that you put out there. This has got to be a guy that if Brian Burns were to hold out, and I'm not saying he is the guy. I don't think I'm saying that at all. He's not. Right now he's not holding out, but we have to hope that we can have an alternative to that. Now, Barno was silent the rest of the game, but a lot of that was because the Jets finally figured out, hey, we need to, and you can see it in Barno's inability to get to the quarterback. He was more or less trying to control what he was doing. He was trying to control what he was doing because he knew the screens were coming, the misdirections were coming. It's real different when a team can control you. And Barno had to kind of pump the brakes a little bit because he knew screen might be coming, misdirection, play action may become bootlegs. But let's look at the worst. Josh Thomas had a 45. Brandon Smith, that's a surprise. Marquand McCall. I was wondering where these tackles were because the tackles gave up a lot of runs up the middle, and then surprisingly Deion Jones. And of course we go on. It says Deion had a nice start to camp, but he had a couple of missed tackles, and of course Steve Smith came to his rescue. He came to a couple of guys' rescues yesterday, but notably Deion Jones saying that this is where you get all of that missing out, and I agree with that. This is the number one reason why you want to be able to play these preseason games so you can get these missed tackles and clean up this technique that you so desperately need to have. But with Frank Wright coming out saying that it was very generic, but the one thing we've got to get done is we have to stop the run. Coach Evero, we've got to figure out a way to stop the run. I know you guys are mixing guys up and so on and so forth and this, that, and the other, but we have to mix it up. We're gonna have to put some of our cards on the table. There's just no ifs, ands, and buts about it. Because as I said, in order for a sniper to be great, he has to practice his craft. We have to practice this craft in some way, shape, or form. This offensive line shuffling, it's got to be set in stone. We've only got 2 preseason games left, and we're a month away from kickoff. Opening day against the Falcons, and the Falcons have a really good defense, and they've got a monster run game. We all know that the Falcons, Titans, and possibly Ravens are going to be a running team. They're going to run the football. Now, in closing, guys, I hope this is Mr. CeeLo. I'm going to start a new thing. Mr. CeeLo's food for thought, or Mr. CeeLo's growl of the day. Mr. CeeLo's growl of the day is, don't take too much into this game. Don't get too high, don't get too low, Panther fans. We got some things we have to clean up. The 27-0 game is a heartbreaker, but keep in mind, we got blowed out in the Cincinnati game, and then we came back and blowed out the Lions, so we can't get too high, can't get too low. As far as the Jets being a measuring stick, for great defenses, possibly. But don't get too high, don't get too low. We'll recover, and we got the Giants, next this coming Friday in East Rutherford. So as we get ready to close, guys, I appreciate your support. Make sure you guys go by my Instagram at Mr. CeeLo, and on your way out, make sure you guys like and subscribe if you like the content. And of course, go by our Facebook page and check out our new poll, which will be going up just as soon as this show is over with. Are you happy with what you saw in the preseason game against the Jets? Yes, no, and please let me know. Guys, make sure you go by Growlin and Prowlin and check out the last one that we have. Guys, make sure you go and check out my other channels at Gridiron Gab Pro Style, as well as Talk Like a Champion. And the new channel that I promise you guys is going to come out really soon. It's going to be this week, hopefully. I've said that before, but it's coming out. Gridiron Gab Triple Option, my collegiate show. And don't miss on Gridiron Gab, we're going to have our fantasy picks and top steals, as well as the possible duds for the year, and how you should deal with Jonathan Taylor, Dalvin Cook, Ezekiel Elliott, and Kareem Hunt. But that's going to do it for us here. Before we get out of here, like I said, I want to appreciate and give a shout out to all my guys that are there on Growlin and Prowlin, as well as the many other platforms that have been a part. I can't do it today. I totally forgot. I didn't write it down. But I will give a shout out to all my groups that are in. Go by and join those groups if you're a Carolina Panther fan. Really great groups out there. But as I said, head up. Don't get too high. Don't get too low. Till the next time, Panther Nation, keep prowling the airwaves and keep growling out. Keep pounding.